Hello everybody, I'm Matt and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Absolute Batman issue 12 by Scott Snyder, Nick Dragotta and Frank Martin. What has become of Batman's closest friends and allies while he's been in the clutches of Bane? Well, let's find out as Batman and Wayland manage to escape Arkham, resurfacing in Gotham's sewer system. Bruce thanks Wayland for rescuing him, but the monstrous creature wants Bruce to repay the favor and save him by ending his life as the hunger he feels is too much for him to handle. Bruce raises his knife for a killing blow but refuses to deliver it, knowing that he can find a cure or something to help Wayland out. Unable to have his final wish fulfilled, Wayland flies into a rage, attacking Bruce. I really adore Nick Dragotta's take on Killer Croc. He looks so monstrous and just so different than what we usually see, where he's usually just a big guy who has scales on his body. Here he's a giant maw of a mouth that takes up most of his body, and then it's saddled under a rather human-looking face that's so unsettling. Bruce defends himself, kicking Wayland in the face, and the monster says that he should have left Bruce in Arkham, disappearing back into the murky sewer water as Bruce calls out that they can beat this together, but his friend is already long gone. What Scott is setting up here with a Batman who begun with his friends and family and a support system already all around him, and he's having it systematically taken away from him and broken down, all mostly because of his own actions as Batman, is such a cool inverse on how Bruce's journey usually goes. Usually the support system and everything comes after the fact. On top of that, this is a Bruce who's not well equipped to deal with any of the sort of stuff that Bane is dishing out. Like, he barely got away from Arkham, and so those allies and support system is what's really going to carry him through this, and it's being ripped away from him currently, so what is he going to do? It's just absolutely gripping stuff. Sometime in the past, Bruce and Selina check out apartments together. Selina knows that something is bothering Bruce and he admits it's Wayland and his upcoming fight with Bibbo. Selina hopes that he has told him the truth, but Bruce knows that Wayland actually believes truly that he can win against Bibbo Babowski. Selina thinks that then they should help him win by the same way they got this swanky new apartment, by not playing by the rules. We've only been getting these little vignettes of Selina and Bruce in the past, but man, it's just so good. I just love how hopeful it is compared to the present day stuff. Hell, even Dragotta's artwork is a bit more lighter in color and everything just feels brighter and there's a bit more hope in it. There's also a great visual set piece here of the setting sun, with Bruce and Selina looking out at the setting sun, like the sun is beginning to set on these simpler, brighter times and the darkness is about to creep in onto Bruce and Selina's life. Back in the present, Bruce awakens in the Batcave, learning from the old man that he's been out of commission for 20 days. Alfred reveals that he'll need a lot more rest, as whatever Bruce had done to him by Bane's people did a number on him, since now he has a delivery system for Bane installed into his brain and spine, with the chemical now freely flowing throughout his body. Bruce does the classic Batman push it all down and compartmentalize it and pretend it's okay, dressing so he can leave, despite Alfred warning him that things have changed in the city, and so has Bruce. Despite Alfred's warnings, Bruce leaves and heads through the city, where he feels the venom begin to course through his veins, causing him pain. It's cool seeing what Bane saying last issue and turning Bruce into what Gotham needs, a Bat-Bane, if you will, and that's kind of coming into effect, albeit very slowly. He's slowly turning into what Bane wanted him to become. It would actually be kind of cool if this became the norm for Batman, like he's dosed with venom and he's able to use it against Bane and actually make him a better Batman, just not in the way Bane wanted him to become for Gotham. Bruce eventually makes it home to his mother's apartment, receiving a very justified slap to the face from Martha, who wants to hold her son for a while. Martha says that she was so scared about getting that phone call again, the same phone call she got when Thomas was murdered, and she got more worried once Ozzy and the others disappeared, something that's news to Bruce. I gotta say, I thoroughly enjoyed that the book is slowing things down, pulling it back on the big action set pieces and letting us catch up with the characters we've seldom seen thanks to Bruce being away in Arkham. It's something we needed after all of the big revelations of the last 2 issues. After learning about Ozzy's fate, Bruce heads to Gotham Hospital, meeting with Jim Gordon, thanking him for watching over Martha. Gordon reminds Bruce that he's family as they arrive at Oswald's hospital room, which the cops are guarding. Commissioner Bullock lets Bruce in to see his friend, but Dr. Leslie Tompkins wants to explain some stuff before he sees his friend. I'm enjoying that we finally get to see Leslie Tompkins in this universe, and I like that she is more or less the same. She's a doctor, she's working, at the hospital, she's helping Bruce out, albeit indirectly in this issue, but I like that she's just around, and I imagine she's going to be a bit more of a mainstay in the coming issues. Bruce doesn't care about listening to the doctors, however, going in to see Oswald, who has been mutated to become some horrible puddle of meat. Changing Bruce's friend so quickly isn't something I thought we would get this arc. I knew it was coming. I knew they would eventually become the Penguin and Two-Face and all of that, but not like this. I didn't expect it to happen so quickly, and this just, I guess, goes to show Bane is on a timetable, and he doesn't have time to wait around for Bruce to eventually, make a choice. He's going to try and make him make a choice by forcing his hand. We're not left to wonder what actually happened to Oswald either. We're actually told exactly what happened, as we find that Bane obviously came to confront them at Wayland's gym, which we saw at the end of the last issue, and he knew Oswald desperately wanted to be tall and good looking and fit, so he decided to make him the opposite. Bane ends up breaking every bone in Oswald's body, missing each vital organ with surgical precision, and in doing so, Oswald is now 2 feet shorter than he usually is, and his limbs are all deformed. I was thinking that all of his friends would go the way that Wayland went and get injected with weird chemicals or, mutagens or something that would mutate them into the villains we know and love, but this is just so much more horrifying. Bane is literally breaking these people and molding them literally with his bare hands into the characters we know. Speaks to the precision of Bane and how he's able to do this like a surgeon when it comes to causing pain. It's such a cool take on Bane. I love the absolute Bane and what everything Scott Snyder is doing with him. He's just so cool. Bruce knows that he'll do what he can to help out, but learns that Oswald was not the only friend who took a hit. He's taken to see Harvey Dent, who according to Dr. Tompkins has 3rd and 4th degree burns on the left side of his body, covering an entire exact 50% of it. But on top of that, his skull has been crushed and cracked right down the middle, leaving it in 2 separate pieces. Harvey stirs, talking about Flash, the cop who would always catch them when they were kids running around the city. I think what Bane does to Harvey is probably the worst so far, at least visually, because we find out, much like Oswald, what happened to him, and we learn that he tried to attack Bane with a bottle of rum, but Bane grabs him and basically claps his hands together around Harvey's head, crushing the rum bottle against his head as well, and basically almost decapitating the man. How he survived this I will never know, especially because the art looks like he straight blew his head off. He clapped so hard that his head just turned to mush. I also really like how he is kind of regressing to his childhood and talking about Flash and how he's comparing that, albeit unknowingly, to Bane. It's just so cool, how Bane knew everything about them, much like how Flash always knew where they were and what they were up to. Also, for those keeping track at home, Flash is actually the cop from Batman Year One, who is Gordon's partner and is a crooked cop, and he was in Batman Begins as well, but people should probably know him from Batman Year One, so I like that we get a mention of Flash in here as well, and I have to wonder if he was still a shitheel like he was in Year One. Bane knows that Harvey is a traitor, being all his friends are outlaws and vigilantes, but him, with his principles and ambitions in the DA's office, wouldn't let that actually happen. Bane retrieves one of Harvey's poker chips, knowing all about the poker game he and his friends play, where they play just for fun, and he crashed their party, and now the safe game amongst friends is not safe at all, because now there's actual stakes at play. Bane welcomes Harvey to the real world, setting fire to the rum-covered ground under him, holding the man down under the heel of his boot as he cooks in the flames, giving birth to the absolute Two-Face. In this way, it also connects him to Batman even more than he usually is, as Batman is now directly responsible for all of these guys being turned into monsters or being crippled in some way. Bruce apologizes, and Harvey knows that this is his fault since he gambled for real out there in the city and he lost. He shows Bruce the last poker chip, telling him he only hates him half the time. So changing the coin to a poker chip is interesting since now it's got more weight between Bruce and Harvey and their friends and what the coin originally meant, what the chip originally meant. And it's a bit more personal, and I have to wonder if Two-Face is going to become a more righteous villain. Like, thanks to Bruce's vigilante ways resulting in his disfigurement, he makes it his mission to bring him down in the confines of the law or something. Like, in doing this, Bane has effectively made him a better district attorney or something. That would be a really cool inverse of what Two-Face usually is. Figuring Harvey and Oswald were attacked, Bruce goes to see Eddie. Finding the Riddler seemingly okay and tinkering away in his server room, Eddie reveals that Bane didn't hurt him. In fact, he was quite nice and offered him a friendly battle of wits, and if he won their game, he could kill Bane, and Bane even offered up his own gun. Bruce soon finds that his friend is far from okay as Bane beat Edward's game in just a matter of seconds, grabbed the man and slammed his head on the table so hard it dislodged his brain, destroying much of his frontal lobe, the part responsible for intelligence. We finally get to see what Bane did to Edward physically, and he has become an amalgamation of man and machine, grafting parts of his Riddler robot onto his own exposed brain, covering his head and eyes that Bane had plucked from his head. There's a really cool design where like he looks down at like the computer screen and you can see like the top of the head, and the pattern in between the brain and the machine creates the question mark Riddler usually uses on his costumes. I think it's a cool design. And it reminds me of things like 80s and 90s anime, stuff like Bubblegum Crisis and AD Police, this weird, strange combination of human parts and computers mixed with like the meat of the insides of the human being exposed. It's just so cool and weird. These are also the proto-forms of the characters too, so there's going to be more of an evolution to them in the coming chapters, and I can't wait to see what they fully become. Bruce is soon overcome by the Venom again, and Edward knows that that's going to be Bruce's challenge, asking what he's going to do about it. After all of these terrifying reveals, we head back to the past, where Selina and Bruce sneak onto Carmine Falcone's golf course, telling the man that they have come to him to offer him a deal. Carmine laughs it off, thinking that Bruce is there to buy his part of the upcoming fight out with Bibbo so the boxer will go easier on Waylon. Bruce, however, says that he's there to give him the bag full of money and gold, and Carmine doesn't think any of it's actually real, but Bruce reveals that it indeed is real, since he and Selina stole it all from Falcone's apartment buildings around the city, something which causes the man to mess up his golf swing. Bruce and Selina tell him that they aren't looking to cash out, they want to raise the stakes. The focus on money in Bruce's past is an interesting thing, and I didn't pick up on it until right now. Like, Bruce and Selina's whole dynamic is centered around money. The things they do with each other is all about money. The things they plan to do is all about money. And I have to wonder whether that's some sort of, like, coping mechanism for these characters after what happened to them in the zoo. They've taken to like stealing stuff, and in Selina's case becoming a thief as a way to cope with like the trauma of what happened to them. It's keeps their mind off things, and like, oh, they have now money, they can now buy shiny new things and be happy, and it brings them happiness. And that's obviously going to end very, very badly, because money does not bring people happiness forever. It's going to eventually end, and that's going to end very soon for these characters. Back in the present, Bruce returns to the safe house, donning the Batsuit and telling the Red Hood gang to stand down. The gang refuses, cutting communications with him. Alfred wants to know if he's closing down operations, but Bruce knows that he should have considered Black Mask's deal back when he was offered to him. However, he just didn't see what was coming, and it angers him greatly since now his friends are now all broken. Like Riddler, Alfred asks what Bruce is going to do about it, since he chose this life and he's now in it, and he can't ever go back. Their heart-to-heart is interrupted when the safe house alarm goes off, signaling that someone is breaking in. Alfred thinks that it's Bane, grabbing his giant minigun, and I kind of like how scared Alfred is here, because obviously in the last couple of issues, he's been telling Bruce, or like wanting to tell Bruce about Bane, and that's how we learnt Bane's backstory, so he is very well aware of what the man is, and I kind of like how scared he is by this, and he just grabs the biggest gun he can get his hands on in order to try and at least get a shot off at Bane. The duo fan out around the cave, and Alfred is soon attacked by a tentacle, which strangles him and knocks him out. Batman finds them and confronts the being, revealing that it wasn't actually a tentacle that strangled Alfred, it was a tail belonging to Catwoman, who says hello to her old friend Bruce. So finally, Selina is now in the present day storyline, and this is our first pretty good look at Catwoman. She's appeared on a bunch of variant covers for upcoming issues, but this is our first in-issue look at her, and I love the design of her. I like that it's incorporating one of those black mask weird sphere helmet things, and it can go sort of opaque so you can see her face under it as well. It's really quite cool, but other than that, it's a pretty typical Catwoman costume, you know, the skin-tight black suit, a kind of cool prehensile tail that we've just seen in action, which is pretty cool, and she's obviously got the claws as well. I'm hoping she's in here as a friend. I imagine she will be, and I imagine she's going to team up with Bruce against Bane, but I also imagine she's going to see the cards on the table and realize, oh, Bruce is kind of, you know, outmatched here. So maybe we could lead to some sort of betrayal between the characters, and I'm intrigued. I'm really excited to see what's going on with Catwoman in the present day, what she's been up to, and how she factors into Bruce's story. Absolute Batman issue 12, while slowing the action down, didn't slow the tension, revealing what has become of Bruce Wayne's closest friends and allies as Bane rampages Gotham. Scott Snyder and his team are doing some brilliant work here with the characters, tying them closer to Batman than they have ever been before, while making each of them feel unique and wholly their own person. With Catwoman finally making an appearance, I can't wait to dive into more of Bruce and Selina's dynamic and their past in the coming issues. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10.